Okay, so we are doing Mishlei 25:8, and this definitely does belong with the next two psukim, but I do think this could be learned on its own. And the reason why is, no spoilers here, but this pasuk seems to be talking about before you get into a conflict, whereas the next two are once you've started the conflict. So even if the topic is the same, then the practical and even if the decision-making scenario is the same, the stages at which we're talking about decision making are different. So I think we should take this one first, and then we'll take the next one next week. Leant. Yeah, Isaac.
I was going to try to translate.
Oh, sure, go ahead. Yeah, so
Yeah.
let me read it first. So al teitze lariv maher pen ma taase ba'acharisa b'hachlim oscha reacha. And if you're wondering to yourself, it feels like there's some words missing. Yeah, there's some words missing. So you're gonna have to fill in something. Go ahead.
Don't go out to fight quickly.
Yep.
Like I guess like don't be quick to fight.
Yeah, I think that's
Um,
actually a better way to say it. Don't be quick to go out and fight. There's a
yeah.
cartoon from the 90s that I have this distinct memory of that these guys, the main characters are driving their car and they encounter a sign that says slow children playing, and it shows these kids throwing this ball in slow motion to each other, like obviously it does not, the slow is not a qualifier of the kids. And so to here, quickly is not, it's not saying don't go out to fight quickly. It's saying don't quickly go out to fight. So I think that's it. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Uh, lest what will happen to you in the end?
So lest ma ta'ase, not happen to you.
What he will do to you in the end?
Nope.
What,
What you will do.
What you will do
oh,
in the end. Actually, so slightly more precise than because in the end would be acharis. So acharisa.
At the end of the
The
fight.
your
end
end.
of it.
Yeah, at its end,
Oh,
right? Although I just want to check and see if Reeve, I think oops, I forgot to do Alator here. I would think Reeve is masculine, so I don't know what Achrisa is, unless there's something I'm missing here. Feel free to suggest if you think I'm missing something here, but I'm just gonna look up the word Reeve is, well, that's a verb, but I want the noun form. And I was looking at Reeve called Reeve. Let's see if Reeve, no, that's a verb. Where could I look to find this out? Let me look at the Klein dictionary. Reeve is masculine, yeah. So, and Riva is feminine. So I don't know Acharisa. What else could that be going off of? Unless that's just like a specific form that does mean just at the end, but I don't know. That's weird, right? All right, we'll say at its end, and we'll leave it vague for a second. Okay, and then go ahead, Isaac. Bahachlim oscha re'acha.
Hachim is the shorts like to like finish off.
I don't think so. I think that would be like Chaf Lamed Hey. Like Vayechulu, I think that's Chaf Lamed Hey. Yeah, this is a different one. This is Chaf Lamed Mem.
Um,
Like Busha and Chlima.
well, okay, so when your friend embarrasses you.
Yeah. When your friend or let's say fellow, just to broaden it here, shames you. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I think he's not really so much your friend, right? At least in this
Yeah, yeah,
moment.
right. Right. Okay, so there's no Metzudas Tzion, there's no Targum Sadigon. The only Targum is the Ktuvim, which says Lo tipok bedina mesar hava'is delo tidun ba'acharaisa kad yachamitz yasach havarach. So I did the cheaty approach and did ChatGPT. So lo is not. Tipok, you should not go out. Second person singular imperfect. Bedina into a I think that's just the straight up translation for Riv as a din. Um, uh,
Doesn't that mean more court-based reef?
I don't think so. Let me actually just check. Didn't we have this by Abraham and Lot? Alti Riv Beni Uvenecha. Riv Beni. Let's just see what the Targum Onklos says here. I don't remember offhand. I think he says din. I think I've told you this before, but when I first came to yeshiva, not when I first came to yeshiva, I guess in my second year in yeshiva, then I remember Rabbi Moshe Zucker, telling me we were talking about Shnai Mikra, and I had just started Shnai Mikra in my first year in yeshiva, and I was doing Onklos, and I remember him telling me. Yeah, when I'm doing Shine and I get bored, then I just try to guess, what the English is going to say next. And I was like, how could you do that? That's impossible. But then if you do it for enough years, then you just you pick up what he says. Now let's see if I embarrass myself. Oh, that's Mariva. Yeah, I still want to see if Mariva is the same.
There's also Yud Gimel Zion is Reeve.
Yugam Zion. Okay, thank you. Yugam Zion is Reeve. Yeah. And let's look at Targum Onkelos. Oh, Matsusa. Interesting. Yeah. What's another example of Reeve in I think Reeve bin Anashim?
Ki Rivun Anashim.
Yeah, Reeve bin Anashim, thank you. That's in Mishpatim?
Probably.
Or is that in yeah. So it's not gonna be Reeve, right? So you Reevun. Let's see if that comes up. I think it's misdainin, I think is what he would say. That's my guess. We'll see if I'm wrong this time. Ki rivun anashim. Are yinsun. Nope, same thing, Matsusa. Okay, fine. Yeah. So it is possible that you're right, by the way, that din is davka with a court dispute, but I don't know if that is true. My memory/intuition is telling me that it is often used for just like a regular quarrel. Okay, but we'll see. I also actually want I'm going to check one more place. I just want to see if the Targum in Mishlei, if that's a standard thing for Mishlei to translate as din. So let's see if we can find one that's clearly not a case of court dispute. Let's say like I'm hoping to find a pasuk of a contentious wife, and then we'll see if it uses that term here. Were you gonna say something, Isaac?
Oh yeah, I was going to mention that there was some psukim in 18, but I think those were about Midyanim, not Reeve.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Ish is Midyanim though, right? I think that's a phrase that he uses for a contentious wife.
Yeah, there's also Midyanim Yashbis Quarrel.
Right. Yeah, that one definitely could be legalistic dispute. Yeah, I don't know why Altor is taking so long. I don't know if it's the site or if it's today. But okay, we'll go back to it. We'll wait till it loads. Okay, then back to this thing. Masar havais, I would not know, which is impetuously, hastily, forcefully. B'techifa o b'chipazon, adverbial form of to insist or to push. Delo, lest, to dun, same word. Ba'acharaita, at its end. Kod, when yach meets. This is an interesting one. Yach meets is so. ChatGPT says, "Will shame, humiliate, embarrass you?" Clearly, it comes though from or sorry, not clearly it comes from. It evokes chametz, right? But this says it's to disgrace or to disgrace. Yasach is you and chavrach. So I don't think unless the din part is a thing that we need to care about, then this is not really adding anything. Okay, let's see here. Tarbe, Te'erov, Rov, Rabim, Yerbu, Krovav, Rov, Rav, Yarbe. These are all not the shortish we want. Yeah. What did we just say? Midyanim? Let's look at Midyanim. If anyone finds a puzzle with that, let me know because it might take shorter than.
I mean, there's 18, like 15-ish.
18, 15-ish. Okay, let's see. 18.
18.
18.
There's a couple of psukim about Midyanim.
Okay. Tell me when you see it.
Yeah, 18.
18. Okay. Midyanim, but that's not the way.
The one right before it said Reeve, actually.
Tzadik Harisha Barivo. Yeah, I see. I don't want that. I want something that is clearly a personal dispute. And then if he uses it.
I think we said that was actually specifically a court case.
Yeah, right. Anyone else have it? Here, there's not that many of these. Okay. Senator, okay, Midanim. I thought, here we go. Ashes Midyanim. There we go. 21:9. Midyanim. So if he uses Mizdainim, then we're good. Tav lemesav al karna deigra min itza tagranisa. So that's tagran, like a provocative wife. Okay. All right, fine. So it might be that this is a court dispute. All right. So we'll note, so possibly, we'll just say possibly translates this as court dispute or like as legal dispute. Legal dispute. Okay. All right, good. So then our scroll says, do not be quick to enter into strife unless you know what you will do in the end when your fellow humiliates you. Okay, so they add in the words, lest you know what you will do in the end. Okay. Hirsch says, do not go out hastily to quarrel. Think what you will have to do in the end when your neighbor covers you with shame. Alter says, do not go quickly to a quarrel, for what will you do afterwards when your neighbor puts you to shame? So everyone like agrees that there's like words missing here. Okay. So I'm just going to keep these translations up here. I'll make them smaller so we can not take up valuable real estate here. And let's do our questions here. So I guess the first question was implicit in our translation thing, which is what is the well, let's say what's the decision-making scenario here? And then specifically, what type of reeve is this talking about? An interpersonal spat, not spit, spat, a legal disputation or legal case, something else. Yeah. What else?
What happens at the end?
Yeah. What does happen at the end? And why doesn't Mishlei tell us? Now, that's something that some of these translations account for, right? Art scroll, unless you know what you will do in the end, implies that there might be not subjective, but it might be like individualized. Hirsch says, think what you will have to do in the end, which might be individualized, or that might be alluding to something that it's not saying. And then Alter says what you will do afterward, which is also like ambiguous. Yeah, Isaac?
Why is it don't be quick to fight? What's maher?
Okay, good. Right. So what
It's not saying don't
does
fight, saying don't be quick to fight.
yeah, what does maher add? Or how and why is it does this limit it? Right. In other words, it could have said it could have said don't fight, period. But this implies that some fights are acceptable, but need deliberation ahead of time, right? So that is one check in the box or in the column of maybe this is talking about a court case that we would not say, like, you could say avoid court cases, but you would never say never go to a court case. Like, that doesn't make any sense, like sometimes you need to. So that to me indicates that it might not be a personal spat. Yeah, Moshe?
Who is Reyecha? Is he the guy you're fighting with or someone else?
Okay, good. So
or alternatively, how many people are here?
Okay, good. I actually want to divide this into two questions. One is who is Re'acha? Is this the person you are fighting with, or is this a third party? And then the second really a question is what kind of person is Re'acha? Is this just a generic term for fellow? Or is this Davka a friend? I think those are the two main possibilities there. Another thing we have to ask about the quickly is what does maher mean practically? Like, in other words, are we talking about, give it a few seconds of thought, or sit on it for a few days, or something in between. And that's going to obviously be tied to what's the decision-making scenario here. Yeah, Isaiah?
So I guess maybe this question is specific to being like a friend. But isn't going out to fight in general with him like a bad thing that we should avoid doing? Like, why specifically is it lest something bad happen at its end?
Okay.
Like the whole thing is bad.
Okay, I'm gonna ask a weird question. I'm gonna put that into a weird question just so I can include more in the answer here, which is gonna be what I guess attitude or stance does this pasuk have toward this kind of quarrel, right? So in other words, as we noted, this isn't saying never engage in reeve. But al Tatse seems to imply like, sorry, say your question one more time, Isaiah. I had a good formulation when you asked it.
I was saying, like, why is it focused on the end of the pasuk if it seems like going out to fight with your friend
Right,
is
right.
a bad
So
thing?
yeah, okay, right. So never doesn't say never engage in reeve because it's inherently bad, but it warns us about what will happen, about the raw that will happen in the end, the raw that will come about in the end, right? So like, is this, just typical Mishleic, motivate the reader by what he cares about? Or is this, I guess taking a more neutral stance on Riv itself, and only warning you about consequences? Yeah, that's kind of a long way to ask the question, but I think that's going to encompass like a lot of thought. Yeah, Moshe Koppel.
Is it a guarantee that your reacha is going to be maflim you? And if not,
Right.
what does it sound like it is?
Okay, right. So what are the odds here for behachlim oscha reacha? I guess and for ma ta'aseh ba'acharisa, right? So in other words, I could not find this on Monday night. I'm pretty sure it's Ibn Kaspi, who said that um, some Mishlei psukim are, which say consequences are talking about the majority of the time. Some say like 50-50, and some are in a minority case, right? So like, is this I couldn't find it on Monday though. Is this a pasuk that is telling us what will often happen, or what sometimes happens, or what might happen in a rare case, but the stakes are so high that it warns us as a general principle? Yeah. Okay. Good. I guess we have not yet directly asked what does it mean b'hachlim oscha chavirach or reacha. What exactly does it mean by b'hachlim oscha reacha? And sorry, reacha. And why is that bad? And the reason why I want to ask that also is because of what Moshe Levin's question was, which is, I think it is different if this is the guy who you're fighting with, or if this is the some third party. And then I guess the other question is, how does this klima come about, right? Like, is this re'acha, insulting you publicly? Or is the quarrel itself the indirect cause of him shaming you, or something else? Okay, I feel like those are, well, I guess the who is the audience? Um, and then like I mentioned in the in the blurb for the shiur, we are now in this new genre of not new, but like newly uh common genre of Mishlei pasuk in chapter 25, which is what I call straight up advice. So you don't need to ask here, what is the practical advice? If anything, you could just say, what are the parameters? What are the parameters of the practical advice? I don't think this is I think it's very clear what it's telling you not to do. It's just we need to see what the parameters are. Okay, I feel like those are the main questions. Yeah, Isaac.
Yeah, so I'm going to lead with an example from my own experience.
Okay.
So there have been times at work where it seemed like a coworker was like not doing his job properly.
Yeah.
And my manager encouraged me to call him out on it and like basically start a fight.
Okay.
And then I think that part's not essential to it. It's like
It might be, but
yeah,
yeah,
but
because
where
so
I've,
far
like,
you're in
started
line
it.
with one of the meforshim, but yeah.
Okay, yeah, where I've started a fight quickly, like rather than trying to work it out, discuss it, like it'd be like, hey, why aren't you doing your job about this thing?
Yeah.
And then what has often happened is that then he shows that no, really, he is, and like turns it back on me, and then I'm just humiliated, and then there isn't anything I can do, and it's like now I'm in a bad position
Can you
because
tell me? Can you tell me what you mean by turns it back on you?
like like where he shows that like he is and like I like just my assumption was mistaken or something
Okay,
like
yeah,
that,
right.
and then and then now I look foolish and like like and it like reflects terribly on me, and
Right.
I'm embarrassed,
Right.
and
Okay.
there isn't anything I can do, and
Okay, right. Okay,
yeah,
so tell me if this captures it here, which is that actually you're also answering a question which we forgot to ask, which is I don't know where to put this, so I'm just gonna put it at the bottom here, is if this is the foolish decision, what is the wise decision? What's the alternative? And again, this is kind of overlaps with our other question, which is like, is the alternative don't enter it quickly, but enter it slowly, or is it don't enter it at all, right? So, or is it something else? So Isaac's saying it's something else, which is, I mean, it's slowly, but in other words,
yeah. So maybe I'll talk about what I think the idea is.
Okay.
That I think when you go into conflict,
Mm-hmm.
it's usually because or one of the main reasons is because you want to prove that you're right and the other person is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And not sometimes that is the case, and you need to do that. But sometimes, like it might be that you're wrong, and if you don't take the time to make sure to like confirm that this needs to be a conflict,
Mm-hmm.
then sometimes you're just going to get shown that you're wrong, and you're going to look, and it's ultimately going to backfire on you. That instead of like you looking like you're right and they're wrong, it's you're wrong and they're right.
Okay. So, so let me try summarizing this here. So, uh, before you enter into a conflict, take time and care to make sure that the facts are correct and that the result will end up in your favor. Okay. If you rush into it quickly, you may discover that you're totally wrong. Making assumptions, misunderstanding motives, getting the facts wrong, etc. There could be many reasons. And you'll end up looking like an idiot, and for I guess for starting up with someone who is really in the right, or not in the wrong, and you'll have to face the consequences, okay, at least from that person, if not from the surrounding people. Yeah, Isaac?
And I'd add also when it says "ma taseh b'acharisa,"
Yeah.
it's pointing out like what are you gonna do in that situation? Like either you're gonna like you don't have any good options. Either you're going to double down and look worse,
Yeah.
or you're not going to do anything and still look bad. Like there isn't a way. There isn't a good like what are you going to do at that point?
Yeah,
You're
right. There
already
isn't a
wrong.
good solution at that point. Yeah, that's a good interpretation of the Matas and Bakrisa at that point. Okay, good. This overlaps two meforshim, but I think what I'll do is instead of bringing them up now, we'll wait till tomorrow to see them through the eyes of the meforshim. That way we could get a review in as well. Okay. All right. This is good. Let me just think for 1 second here. Just 1 second. So I just want to mention that this is the basis of lo tisna achicha bilvavecha. I just want to see if this is better in the Rambam or the Rambag. I feel like those are the two places I go to for lo tisna achicha bilvavecha. So it's in Deos at the end of 6, I think. Hold on, let me make this a little bit smaller. Right. So yeah. Nope. No. Oh, oh yeah, it is here. Okay. Right. So it says, Kol hasone echad miyisrael belibo over belos hazeh. Anyone who hates a fellow Jew in his heart violates los hazeh. Shneimar lo sisnas achicha b'yavavecha. Vein lokin alav zeh. You don't get malchus. Lefi she'ein bo ma'isa, because there's no action. V'lo hisir Torah el alsina shebalev. And the Torah only prohibits hatred in the heart. Aval hamake es chavero, aval macharev es chavero. But if you strike your fellow or you insult him, afal pi she'eino rashai, even though that's not permitted, eno over mishum lotisna. You're not in violation of lotisna because there you're expressing your hatred. You're not harboring your hatred. Now, what are you supposed to do? When one person sins against another, the victim should not hold it in and be silent. As it says by the wicked, lo divir Avshalom im Amnon lemiravi atov ki sane Avshalom es Amnon. That Avshalom did not speak with Amnon neither for bad nor for good, because Avshalom hated Amnon. And the Rambag says, by the way, that that's the shiur about how you know when you're over the law, is as long as you are like willing to talk to the person and like, going to try to do that, you're not over the law. But if you say, I'm never talking to this person again, or I refuse to talk to this person, bam, that's when you're over. So then what are you supposed to do? This is why I'm bringing it up. Ella mitzvah alav lahodio v'lomar lo. It's a mitzvah upon him to inform him and to tell him. Lama asisa li kach v'kach. Why did you do such and such to me? Lama chatasa li b'davar ploni. Why did you do sin against me with such and such? Shneimar hocheach tochiach asamisecha. As it says, you shall surely rebuke a member of your people. V'im chazar, and if he retracts ubikash mimenu limcholo and asks for you to forgive him, sarach limcho, you need to forgive. V'lo yeh hamocha achazari. And the pardoner, or I guess the would-be pardoner, should not be cruel. Shnei Vispala Avram El Elokim, as it says, Avram davened to Hashem, to God, after the incident with Avimelech. Okay, I want to look at one more thing here, just to round this out, because I think it was the Rambag who says this. It's either in the Tualos or it's in the Parsha. I think maybe this is one where in the Parsha he has the Tualos. Rambag. Yeah, there's no Tualos here. Rotalomar afal pi shelo yazik lo klal kivin shesone osa belibo over alav zeh. Oh, here we go. He had toelos b'zahar muvor. So the beneficial outcome of this prohibition is clear. Kiasina efshar shetivi'ehu lihimania mihish tadlus b'hatzalaso. So hatred might cause you to withhold from striving to save yourself from it, I guess. Hold on. Is this what I was thinking of? Oh, here we go. Yeah, this is the part. When someone does something against you, or against Hashem, then you should rebuke him. So the primary reason for tochacha is to return the person to the good. If the guy did something against you, then there's another purpose of tochacha. Maybe the guy will, the wrongdoer will fix what he wronged, what he perverted. Or he'll show you that he didn't do anything against you. So in other words, there is a the rebuke when you rebuke him, it opens up the opportunity to correct a factual error on the part of the rebuker that the guy might not have done anything wrong. So it could prevent misunderstanding. Whereas if you and now rebuke is a constructive thing, but fighting him, is going to be on the attack. And that's not going to lead to that kind of clarity. And you will get embarrassed when he calls you out and shows you that you were making assumptions. Yeah. Okay, good. I'm sure there's more to say on this, but we can explore it tomorrow when we do the meforshim. Let's go to Ariel now. Yeah, Ariel?
All right. I think this pasuk is actually speaking on like three different levels here.
Okay.
Yeah, and it might be, I'm not sure, it might be talking about three different archetypes in Mishlei.
Okay, wow.
I think that I think it means that you know, I'll start with the example that comes into my mind from the Navi. I think it's like with David HaMelech, wanted to kill Navel for, not helping him out, with the food. And Abigail comes in and basically says, look, don't do this. Here are provisions. And she gives like, different arguments. According to the Barbanel, like three different arguments.
Okay.
And David Melech says, thank you for coming. If it worked, this is better, is a better scenario. So I think on one level, it's talking about, if you're purely reacting emotionally,
Yeah.
you're reacting emotionally, then I think that's the most obvious and simple. Like you're not gonna know where the end will where you will be headed towards the end of the road because you're not thinking things through. You're just acting and whatever happens, and like that's pretty clear that like I'm gonna say your fellow is like your friend, like even your friend who usually is your supporting individual will be like dude, come on, you did kind of overreact.
Yeah.
I think that's one level. The second level is even when you like you do have a plan, right? You do think things through. You do have an end where you want to go, and you know what? Your friend might be okay. If your friend like sees the plan or like whatever it is, then like he may even be like, okay, that's a good plan, you know.
Mhm.
But the question is it even worth it at that point for your own personal perfection? Is it even worth it? Right? So maybe you could say over here that this is talking about so I don't know if it's talking about a chacham or a tzaddik because I want to say that like your friend here means like Hashem, like from
Okay.
Hashem's perspective, like is this even worth it?
Okay. And according to this reading, uh, your friend your friend is your friend with a capital F.
Right.
Yeah. Because it's talking about your personal perfection. I want to say one thing really quickly, by the way, without commenting on the whole idea yet. It's interesting because one of the things I was wondering is in our chapter, where does the local cluster of psukim end? And what we've had here is we've had up until now psukim about kings, okay? And a lot of these psukim about kings, the meforshim said that it's about Hashem. So I thought to myself, okay, this is the first pasuk that is not about relating to the king, but maybe if you say that this is about Hashem, then this could still, you could still go, on that track.
Right. And the other level, it's pretty similar to the last thing. I'm still trying to find the nuanced difference here, but it's possible that let's say you do have a good reason to fight, and let's say for a second that you know the reason why you're fighting is resolved. Like again, like the Abraham gives three separate reasons. One is because Hashem doesn't want you to kill Naval, and the other reason is because you yourself want revenge, so you have to question if that's even true. And the third reason is like if it's about provisions, here's the provision. So Abigail gave David the provision. So let's say the person you're fighting with ended up resolving the issue, and you still fight with them.
Right.
Even if it is planned, like your friend anyone will shame you. It's like it's not even worth it in the end.
Okay, so if I had to make a differentiation between your second and third approaches here, I'd actually say I actually want to reverse them. And so say like this, is that even if you do have a good reason to fight, is there another route to getting what you to fulfilling your objective without fighting, right? So I think that's a mistake people make where they see, okay, I can fight, and then I have a good reason to fight so I can get result X. But if there's a way to just get that result without fighting, then why would you expose yourself to this risk? And then the
Right.
third one is even if you do have a plan, sorry, a good reason to fight, and this is the only way to get that result, you have to ask yourself is if it's worth it at the cost of the consequences for your life and your perfection. Okay, I think that's like the three-tiered way, you
So
know?
it's possible that it's possible that the third one is talking about a tzaddik, the second one's talking about a chacham, and the first one's talking about a fool.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that definitely could be, but I actually think that this is a good way to say it. I think to not limit it to the type of audience is still good because like you can ask yourself this, like these are three questions you should ask yourself
Right.
is let me just translate this here. So then, uh uh practical application uh is if you're about to get into a fight, um, ask yourself three questions. So one is do I really, I guess, can I really be sure that I know what I'll do when I'm in a heightened emotional uh fight, you know, not flight, um egocentric state of mind. Um, okay, and I say egocentric. You didn't mention egocentric, but I think that that's kind of implicit in what Isaac was saying is that once you're fighting, there's a winner and a loser, and I have to protect my dignity or I have to protect. So that's number one. Okay, most people will not be able to answer this. Like, oh, and sorry, one thing also is what I'll do when I'm in a heightened emotional fight or flight, fight, not flight, egocentric state of mind, and my friend shames me, right? In other words, like what happens if he davka strikes my ego, Okay, then two is if I get past that hurdle, um, you know, is there a or not if you don't have to do these sequentially, but like, is there another way to get what I want without putting myself at risk by fighting? And then three is if the answers to the above questions are no, is this worth it? Sorry, worth it for my perfection, uh, time and energy, and like quality of life. Yeah. Okay, that's really good. I like that practical distillation of the advice. Okay, nice. Yeah, Moshe.
I'm just on Ariel. Uh, I guess what point before number one are you able to get into like a mode of thinking where you can like say, how can I react emotionally? It seems to me that as soon as any like um a cue for a fight or a heightened emotional reaction comes up, you have to like properly or somehow be trained to like override that instinctual emotional reaction. So where
Yeah,
in that process are you able to stop and think?
right. So yeah, I just want to point out before Ariel answers is that the pasuk is assuming that the emotional state of mind before entering the quarrel, even if there is an emotional state of mind, it is less intense or less blinding than when you're actually in the quarrel. So you are right, Moshe, is that if you're dealing with a person who is as worked up before the quarrel and going into the quarrel, then the puzzle can't be talking to him because it's too late already. Yeah, Ariel, what are you gonna say?
Yeah, I was just gonna. Yeah, that's true. And also, Moshe, you kind of just answered it yourself. You just have to train yourself. I mean, like, like there's a book called Crucial Conversations, and it's literally about a book about asking yourself like like what's the overall objective here? Like, if am I fighting just a fight, or am I fighting, or is it worth it for the end result? Like, you have to train yourself. It's not.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to train yourself is a good answer, but I think there are many techniques, and so I think the most accessible technique is to ask yourself what has happened in the past when you've gotten into a fight and done something that you regret or felt shame that you regret, and then realizing that like I have to stop myself from risking doing something like that, um, and there's also like other just like tripwire techniques where like on the very minimal level, this is a classic strategy, right? But counting to 10, I've never used that strategy, but like counting to 10, the strategy I use is like I'm going to sleep on it, and if I still feel as angry tomorrow as I do today, then I'll do something. But it at least gives me time to allow for the cooling down. So like I think there's a whole suite of activities, yeah, Isaac, of strategies. I mean,
There's also this great book called the Torah that has a lot of techniques and practices that help you learn how to like override your short-term emotional reaction to operate with by your mind, and also to be changing your the emotions that naturally come up when things
yeah,
happen.
right. That's more of a global perspective, though. I think Moshe was asking about what are you supposed to do in the moment, and the Torah's not going to help you in the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I do think if you are living a life where you are, actively working on that, also in a halachta b'drachav type of way,
Yeah.
that
I
will
mean,
make a big
it's a
difference.
true answer, but I think it's an utterly unhelpful answer.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that's like saying, if you give me advice, yeah, the advice is perfect yourself. Like, congrats. Like, I thank you. That's so helpful, Like, and I'm not obviously not denigrating the truth of what you're saying, but I think Moshe's asking for tactical advice, and that's not tactical.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
yeah. But I think that there is a certain amount that your tactics can only go so far, and I'm saying
Right.
beyond that
No,
point, there's
see,
also
I want to push back on this because your tactics can only go so far, but this is, and in many cases in Mishlei, what we say is we say that you have to do the work before you're in the situation, otherwise you're just going to fall into the situation. This is a pasuk, a rare pasuk, which is Davka telling you it's grabbing your shoulders and saying, wait, stop right now, and then think about the pasuk. And Moshe is saying, how do I even get to that point where I stop now? Right? This is different than the most
okay.
Mishlei pasukim.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so again, I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying. I'm just saying that like that here I'm trying to show that Moshe is asking a specific question that needs to be answered in order to apply the pasuk.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
another practical technique is writing this pasuk on the palm of your hand, and then when you want to fight, you look at your hand and you say, "Okay, not going to
Yeah.
go fight quickly."
Yeah. I mean, I want to point out though, by the way, that I think no matter how we learn the pasuk, it is giving a universal Mishleic method of stopping yourself, which is and this is a broad technique, which is visualization. It is a sorry, I don't mean visualization with your images, Isaac, but like it's a premeditatio malorum of thinking ahead in a visceral way about what you're going to do if you're in a bad situation. And so, like, saying, okay, what's the worst I might do if I'm in this situation? And the funny thing is, like, I don't think this is going to apply to us, but you hear of cases where, like, a guy gets life in prison because he kills someone in an act of, let's say, like, I don't know, someone cuts him off in on the road, and he gets out of the car, and then they fight, and he hits him and ends up killing him, or like in a bar fight or something like that. So there are really, really these people who do that. If you ask them, would you ever murder someone? They would say, of course not. But they just get so worked up that, or another example, I'm sure you've heard cases, and this is rare, but not, unfortunately, not so rare. Parents at high school sports games will literally fight each other and sometimes kill each other or kill the ref, out of like an argument about sports. And I'm sure if you ask these people, like, man, like you murdered a person or you killed a person, they would never think of themselves capable of it, but you got to ask yourself, what might you do? I think the more relatable thing is, and maybe some of you have had this, I've definitely had this experience where you yell at someone in a way that threatens to or actually ruins a relationship, that you just like unleash this rage and like you can there are words or ways of talking that you can't take back, and so for me, like I think about times when I've done that and that's a good technique. Yeah, Ezra.
Can I just clarify? You were saying that not too uncommonly a parent kills somebody at a game?
I've seen multiple news articles where that
Really?
has happened. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
That's cool.
crazy. But you could believe it, I'm sure, if you've seen like parents yelling and stuff like that.
Yeah, I've seen fights at games between
Yeah.
parents.
Yeah. And again, I'm not saying like murdering a guy with like a switchblade. I'm saying like
Right.
punching the guy out or beating them up to the point where the guy, gets injured so bad that he dies. Yeah, it's crazy. Okay, I think we're
Yeah,
over
there was
time for
an there's an
today.
incident in 2024 about like someone getting shot at a high school because of a dispute between two
Wow.
parents,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It happens.
and
All
they
right. So let's
died.
stop for today. This is good approaches here. And I think one of the things I'm looking forward to with these types of straight up advice, Psukim, is we really get to flesh out the practical advice in tactical ways that we should do with every pasuk, but we often don't get to because we spend so much time trying to decode what it's telling us to do. Here we have like a leg up. And so I think we'll see more of that tomorrow. Okay. And tomorrow, Bli Neder in person. And, uh, and we have the full amount of time. Okay. Have a good day, everyone. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
We can also
Yeah.
talk about the Derech Nister.
Yes, I would like to do that too. Yeah. All right. Have a good day.